Let's talk about leverage ETFs.
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
NVDL, AMDL. Are they sophisticated tools for investors or long-term portfolio destroyers? And you want to just kind of give reference point on what leverage ETF is?
Yeah, so it gives you, it moves a lot faster. So NVDL is 2 times long NVIDIA.
Okay.
And then AMDL, of course, put in chat. What do you think AMDL is a leverage asset for? It's right there. You should know. But it's for NVIDIA. That's 2 times long as well.
And not to cut you off, but I want to just add some, because I saw Charlie Kirk. You see that? When he talked about how he invested in triple leverage QQQ.
Yep.
In I think it was like 20. It might have been. It was either this April or it was during COVID. But it was one of the major market drawdowns.
Yeah, I think it was during COVID.
He talked about how he invested in the leverage and he gave that whole thing. So that was kind of interesting because I just saw that randomly on my timeline.
Because I know I want you to go into depth of this, but sophisticated, yes. And I did this in April, exactly when the market had pulled down in XOXL. That was triple leverage, right? So that followed the semiconductor ETF at a triple leverage. And that one is, I think that's probably the largest gain right now in the portfolio. I think it's probably like 800%. A good time, obviously, when you see something like, Liberation Day kill the market. If you believe in that sector, it's an opportunity. But yeah, I'm writing notes now. I'm listening.
Yeah, usually I would say no. Well, for AMDL and NVDL, no. Now is not the time. Because I'm not going to say that the NVIDIA trade is over because it's not. But the timing of when to have a double or triple leverage ETF, now is not the time to do so. For years, one of my favorites, same triple leverage, TECL, which is a triple bull market ETF. I loved it a lot. The only part that sucks, though, is when it draws down a lot. You have to be very careful, but the timing of it is important. I think you need to do this after you have your base of your first 4 stocks, and then you at least have 100 shares in each. You don't need to start off doing triple lever or double lever. But the NVDL, I don't love. AMDL, I don't love. There are other assets that can get you the same kind of return without you having all that risk on the table, and the volume is low. And people have asked me about Kathy's ARK Venture Fund too. It's the same thought. Like, I get the idea of it, but now is not the time to be risk on when all hedge funds, not all, but majority of hedge funds are risk off.
Yeah, and it's not
timing of it matters.
The timing definitely matters, which is why a situation like April makes a lot of sense. But it's not for the undisciplined. I'll be honest with you. When you're going up 3% or triple every day, you also have that same triple on the way when it goes down. So you have a few days of negative pullbacks. That's times 3. And so most people don't have the stomach to say, like, wait, I'm drawing down. This is ridiculous. It's not ridiculous. And just give up on the position. So I like what you said, though. I think that's important, right? Number one, do you have your table set, right? Rather than having a triple leverage ETF, do you even have the ETF in your portfolio?
And at least 100 shares.
And 100 shares. And if it's the ETF that you don't have, do you have 100 shares of the companies inside that ETF? So if it's XOXL, is it NVIDIA? Is it Broadcom? Is it AMD? Is it Texas Instruments? Is it Micro? All of those are inside that ETF. Do you own shares in those companies? Right? Like, that would tell me, all right, if you've done that, can this be a way to have some positive gains? Absolutely. But first, have stability. I like what you said there.
Yeah. Somebody put in chat MSTU. I mean, it was at 315. It's currently at 976. Like, if you don't know what the threats are, because at one point MicroStrategy looked like a sure bet, but then if you go leveraged and don't get out at the right time, thinking that you're going to get out of it, you have to know when an asset class is going to turn around. You have to be very careful, y'all.
MST, it's 2x on that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they're interesting. They're interesting, to say the least.
Quantum computing. In quantum computing, what stands out the most right now?
IBM and Google, to be clear. Like I don't want to give it away, but okay. I want to say this too, like very clearly. Not only do you have to invest in the companies that move the GDP of America, you guys know that. You have to invest in the companies that already have hedge fund-like ecosystems inside of them. So if you look at Microsoft, since 1987, they've acquired like 200 and off the record, maybe like 270, 280 companies, right? That's a hedge fund and index fund in one. And that's why I say, like, I like the premise of IOMQ, but IOMQ is not going to beat Google.
No.
Or Microsoft or some others. And I won't put Apple in that race because Apple isn't going to win a quantum race. But if you look at IBM, it's a legacy company that is incredibly boring. But if we're talking about artificial intelligence and quantum, they were working on that in 2010. They had the little fucking robot on Jeopardy. Google has been working on this since 2012. So I know everyone keeps asking what's the next thing. I keep always saying, though, the company with the most money is going to buy the thing that is next. Microsoft did it with OpenAI. And Google already has a great formation. So while I like the premise of some of the up-and-coming quantum companies, they're not going to be Google or Microsoft.
Can I take Google for like a sec?
Yes.
All right, let's talk about Google, because I like what you said there about a hedge fund. There was this post I saw, I thought it was really interesting. It said, Google might have the greatest investing record ever, turning early bets into massive wins. I'm going to run down a few. Android, they invested 50 million, right? That turned into 200 billion. Would it be? They invested in YouTube at 1.65 billion. That has turned into a $300 billion return. They invested in DeepMind, which is pretty much at the core of everything we're talking about in AI. You don't have OpenAI, you don't have Anthropic, you don't have any of this without DeepMind. They invested 500 million in that. That has turned into $100 billion return. They invested in Stripe, a little under 100 million. That has turned into a $70 billion investment. They invested in 2015 when people had no idea why they were doing it, 12 billion into SpaceX. SpaceX valuation, that has now turned into a $1.5 trillion return. So over the course of 20 years, they've delivered between 25x to 4,000x returns across tech, AI platforms, and space. Space, the keyword. That's a whole nother episode that we're going to do. But in terms of Google, again, creating the ecosystem that they control, when we thought about AI, right, we talk about it, we talk about these chat box, pick one. What do they do best? They comb the internet. Who is the internet? Who has more data than anyone? Google. I saw this stat. This is going to blow your mind. They said Google has unlimited, unparalleled, and privileged amount of access to the internet in terms of pages seen. They see 3.2 more pages than OpenAI. They see 4.2 more pages, times pages than Microsoft. 5 times that of Meta and Anthropic. So they are seeing everything. These other renditions are seeing some of it. They're controlling it.
And they have the 2 largest search engines.
Absolutely.
And they have the 2 largest search engines. And they did something very unique. They said, you know what? Rather than having its own platform, Gemini is going to be incorporated into your search. So you can search and it's going to give you Gemini anyway. So now they've incorporated the internet with their AI chatbot. What do you do?
Yeah, they have a monopoly.
Allegedly.
Well, and before we bring our guest on for a question for the audience, the 2 biggest search engines, what do you think the 2 biggest search engines are? Jeopardy.
Are we answering this or they answering this?
Google and Gemini, Google GPT, Google, Microsoft Chat, and Google. So the 2 biggest search engines
just gave you the clue.
Google and YouTube. But the reason why I asked that question is that people don't look at YouTube as a search engine. But just think about it. Just today, I'm looking at lights from my house and I said LED lights. I want to see what the visually looks like. So I go on YouTube and I search it. YouTube is the second biggest search engine. Google is the first biggest search engine, but Google owns YouTube.
Now, this is true. There was a time, I'm not going to say both of you, but you thought ChatGPT would come for it. Do you still feel that way?
It's not over yet.
No, but what I will say too, Sam made the mistake in his arrogance of telling allegedly, y'all can confirm this.
Yes, please.
That Google Gemini would never surpass ChatGPT, and they said, "Fuck it, let's just put it in our search engine. We'll kill you that way." Sometimes you can tell people what to do to beat you with your own arrogance. So at the time when I said that, they were two separate standalone things that were not integrated into one as a transformer.
Here's the part though. Do you think Google looked at it and said, you know that where you're getting your information from, we're the source.
From us.
We're the source.
Yeah. Along with Reddit, which
right.
Reddit stock, my Lord.
Oh God.
Talk about selling your IP too early or not letting them leverage your IP. That's a mistake.